Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to start a new chapter of Financial Accounting 6, that is External Reconstruction. I'll be covering the following aspects in the video. First, meaning of important terms, that is amalgamation, absorption and external reconstruction. And then second, concept of purchase consideration, under that meaning and various methods of calculating purchase consideration. And finally, journal entries to be passed in the books of selling company, which is also called transferor company, and then journal entries to be passed in the books of purchasing company, which is also called transferee company. By the end of this video, you will learn all these aspects. So let us begin the session. Now let us take up the first content of the video, that is understanding the meaning of important terms like amalgamation, absorption and external reconstruction. Coming to the first concept, that is amalgamation. The term amalgamation is used when two or more existing companies carrying on similar businesses go into liquidation and form a new company which takes over their existing businesses. For example, there are two existing companies called A Limited and B Limited. They are carrying on similar businesses and they are into the same line of business. Earlier, they might be competing with each other, but now they have decided to give up the competition and come together to form a new company called AB Limited. So here, after the new company is formed, A Limited and B Limited is going to be liquidated and their business will be sold to the new company called AB Limited. So in the process of amalgamation, these two existing companies will be liquidated and their business will be sold to the new company called AB Limited. So there is a liquidation of two companies and formation of one new company. So that is the meaning of amalgamation. Then coming to the second concept, that is absorption. The term absorption is used when existing company absorbs or takes over business or businesses of one or more existing companies. Let us see the example. There are two existing companies, X Limited and Y Limited. When you look at the picture, you can make out that compared to X Limited, Y Limited is larger in size, which is operating in a large scale. So now X Limited is comparatively smaller in size and it is operating in a smaller scale. Okay. So now this big company is absorbing or taking over the business of X Limited. So in the process of absorption, the smaller company which is being absorbed by the bigger company is going to be liquidated. So X Limited is going to be liquidated and its business will be sold to the existing company called Y Limited. So that is the meaning of absorption. So here there is no formation of new company, but one existing company is taking over the business of other existing company. So there will be one selling company and one purchasing company. In the previous case, that is amalgamation, there will be two selling companies and one purchasing company. The third term is external reconstruction. It is used when an existing company is wound up and its business is sold to a new company which is formed specially to take over the business of wound up company with the same or most of the members of wound up company. For example, there is an existing company called Z Limited which is running under huge losses. So they have come to know that it is not possible to continue the business with the same company. So they have decided to liquidate this company, and with the same members or most of the members of Z Limited, they have decided to form a new company, giving the new company a new structure with the new set of rules and regulation, that is New Z Limited. So now here the New Z Limited being the new company that has to take over the business of Z Limited. So in the process of external reconstruction, Z Limited's business will be liquidated and its business will be sold to new company, that is New Z Limited. Now the question is why they have to do so. Answer is very simple. We have seen in the previous chapter, that is internal reconstruction, that when a company is running under huge losses and willing to continue its business even in the future, they can do so by internally reconstructing itself with the making minor changes to the articles of association. But when the company has to reconstruct the company with the major changes, they can't go for internal reconstruction, but they have to go for external reconstruction. So under the external reconstruction, the existing company's business will be completely liquidated and the same members or most of the members of the existing company will form a new company, and that new company will take over the business of that wound up company. So here the new company will have new structure, and with the new, it will operate with the new set of rules and regulations. In case of external reconstruction, as Z Limited is going to be liquidated, that becomes the selling company, and new Z Limited, as it is purchasing the business of Z Limited, it becomes the purchasing company. So I repeat here, in case of amalgamation, A Limited and B Limited is the selling companies, and here AB Limited is the purchasing company. There are two selling companies and one purchasing company in case of amalgamation, and in case of absorption, there is one selling company and one purchasing company, and coming to the external reconstruction also, there is one selling company and one purchasing company. So this is about the meaning of the terms amalgamation, absorption and external reconstruction. Then we'll take up the next content of the video, that is purchase consideration. Then in the second content of the video, that is under purchase consideration, let's say the meaning first. Purchase consideration is the agreed amount which the transferee company, that is purchasing company, pays to the transferor company, that is selling company, in exchange for the ownership of the transferor company. We have seen in the previous slide, that is whether it is amalgamation or absorption or external reconstruction, these selling companies are selling their business to the purchasing company. So whether the selling companies will sell their business free of cost? No. They have to get something in return for selling their business or for transferring their ownership to the purchasing company. That consideration is called purchase consideration or sale consideration. So purchase consideration is the consideration which the purchasing company has to pay to the selling company for acquiring their business or for acquiring their ownership. Okay, so that is the meaning of purchase consideration. Then while discharging the purchase consideration, the purchasing company can pay the purchase consideration either in the form of cash or in the form of shares, that is both equity shares or preference shares. Sometimes they will also issue the debentures in discharging the purchase consideration, or they can also give the other assets. So that depends on the agreement between the purchasing company or selling company. So usually the purchase consideration will be discharged in the form of cash or shares, that is both equity shares or preference shares, or sometimes even in the form of debentures in the purchasing company. So this is the meaning of purchase consideration. Then let us see how to calculate the purchase consideration under various methods. Now coming to the methods of calculating purchase consideration, there are four methods to calculate purchase consideration. They are: first one, lump sum method; second one, intrinsic worth method; third one, net assets method; and fourth one, net payment method. Out of these four methods, third one and fourth one, that is net assets method and net payment method, are the most popular ones. Okay, so but let us say the meaning of all the four methods. Coming to the first method, that is lump sum method, under this method the lump sum amount of purchase consideration that will be specifically stated in the question. So you need not do any further calculation to calculate the purchase consideration. Whatever the amount, lump sum amount stated in the question, that itself can be taken as the purchase consideration. So under the first method, purchase consideration is equal to amount stated in the question. Okay, that is about the first method. Then coming to the second method, that is intrinsic worth method. You have under the intrinsic worth method, we are calculating the purchase consideration on the basis of intrinsic value per share. In the valuation of shares, you have already seen how to calculate intrinsic value of share. Intrinsic value of share is equal to net asset available to the equity shareholders divided by number of equity shares. By applying that formula, you can calculate what is the intrinsic value per share. Okay, taking that as the base, we are calculating the purchase consideration. So in the second method, purchase consideration will be equal to intrinsic value per share into number of share. So this will give you, when you multiply intrinsic value per share and number of shares you have, you will get the purchase consideration under second method, that is intrinsic worth method. Now under the third method, that is net assets method, here we take net assets as the base to calculate the purchase consideration. Now how to calculate the net assets? Net assets is equal to total agreed values of all assets taken over minus total agreed values of all liabilities taken over. The difference, whatever you get is net asset, and under the third method the net assets itself is the purchase consideration. So the formula to calculate the purchase consideration under the third method is equal to total agreed value of asset taken over minus total agreed value of liabilities taken over. So difference here, the difference is net asset, that itself is the purchase consideration. Now coming to the fourth method, that is net payment method. Here, as we discussed in the previous slide, the purchase consideration can be paid by the purchasing company either in the form of cash or in the form of equity shares or preference share, or sometimes even in the form of debentures. Okay. So now in the question, if they have given the different modes of discharging the purchase consideration along with their actual values, then if you add all those values, the total amount whatever you get, that itself is the purchase consideration under net payment method. So the formula to calculate the net payment under purchase consideration under net payment method will be purchase consideration is equal to value of shares received plus debentures received plus cash received. Okay. For example, here the purchasing company is paying 20 lakh in the form of shares plus 5 lakh in the form of debentures and remaining 5 lakh in the form of cash. So here when you add these three different modes of discharging the purchase consideration, when all the values are specifically given in the question, then the total amount here 20 plus 5 plus 5, 30 lakh is called purchase consideration. So these are the different methods of calculating the purchase consideration. Usually in the question we will come across only two methods, that is net asset method and net payment method. But many a time students get confusion whether we have to apply the net asset method or net payment method to calculate the purchase consideration. Please remember, this is the initial calculation you are doing while solving the question, because this has to be shown in the working note. Only after that you will be preparing the ledger account and balance sheet. If this initial calculation goes wrong by applying the other method, then the entire question goes wrong. So it is very necessary to apply the appropriate method depending upon the information given in the question. So let me try to clarify it further, in which case you have to apply net asset method and in which case you have to apply net payment method. Always you should try to apply the net payment method first. Only if net payment method cannot be applied, then you have to use the net asset method. So as we discussed here, in order to calculate the purchase consideration under net payment method, what are the information required? Okay, purchase consideration will be equal to the value of shares received, value of debentures received and cash received. What is the meaning of value of shares received? There you should know number of shares received and issue price. When you multiply number of shares and issue price, you will get the value of shares. Similarly, in case of value of debentures also, they should give you specifically what is the number of debentures issued and what is the issue price of the debenture. When you multiply those two, you will get the value of debentures, and also what is the cash given by the purchasing company, that should also be specifically given. So when you add all these three items, you will get the purchase consideration. For example, as we discussed now, purchase consideration will be equal to shares received, the value of shares received plus debentures received plus cash received. Okay, so here it is specifically given in the question that they have given 5 lakh amount of cash plus 5,000 debentures of rupees 100 each. So 5,000 into 100 comes to 5 lakh, plus they have issued 20,000 equity shares of rupees 100 each. So when you multiply 20,000 and 100, you get 20 lakh. Okay, so here 20 lakh value of shares issued. Okay, so 20 lakh plus 5 lakh plus 5 lakh, the purchase consideration total will be 30 lakh. When all these information, number of shares and the issue price, number of debentures and the issue price of the debenture, what is the cash given, everything is specifically given in the question, you can easily add all those to calculate the purchase consideration under net payment method. But sometimes some information will be missing, that is, they will give what is the value of shares issued and also what is the value of debenture issued, but they will not give you what is the cash given. They will say that 20,000 equity shares of rupees 100 is issued and 5,000 debentures of rupees 100 is issued, and the balance will be paid in cash. Now what is the balance? That is not known to us and you can't apply the net payment method then. So in such a case, when you find the word the balance in cash or balance in shares or balance in debenture, then you have to apply the net asset method. Okay, there first you will calculate what is the purchase consideration under net asset method. As we discussed, under net asset method, the purchase consideration will be equal to total agreed value of asset taken over minus total agreed values of liabilities taken over. Here, for example, total agreed values of asset taken over might be 50 lakh minus total agreed value of liabilities taken over might be 20 lakh. The difference will be 30 lakh. So by applying the net asset method, first you have to calculate what is the purchase consideration. After that, you have to subtract the value of shares received and value of debenture received, and the remaining balance will be cash. Okay, here from 30 lakh, if you deduct the value of shares received and value of debentures received, so remaining balance, you will come to know now what is the balance. The balance will be 5 lakh. Okay, so by this way you can differentiate whether you have to apply the net asset method or net payment method. I will repeat once again, if all the information about the value of shares issued, debentures issued and cash issued, everything is given, you have to apply the net payment method. If any one of the information is missing and they state that the balance in cash, balance in shares or balance in debenture, then you have to apply the net asset method. Okay, so this was about the different methods of calculating the purchase consideration. Then let us see the third content of the video, that is journal entries to be passed in the books of selling company and also in the books of purchasing company. In the third content of the video, we are going to discuss about the journal entries to be passed in the books of selling company, which is also called transferor company, and then in the books of purchasing company, which is also called transferee company. One thing here you can point out that the journal entries and the most of the adjustments are same in all the three cases, that is amalgamation, absorption and external reconstruction. Take it from me, if you learn these two sets of journal entries, then you can easily answer the questions of all the three chapters without any difficulty. So without wasting any time, let us see what are those journal entries. Coming to the first set of journal entries, that is the entries to be passed in the books of selling company, which is also called transferor company. Here we can see the entries under three steps, that is first step with regard to preparation of realization account, step 2 with regard to transfer of various credit and debit balances of shareholders to their accounts, and third one, that is settlement of accounts. Let us see the entries under these three steps one by one. Coming to the first step, that is preparation of realization account, the first entry has to be passed for transferring all realizable asset given in the balance sheet to the realization account at their book values. Here, when the question is given on the asset side, you have to identify what are the realizable assets given. Now, what is the meaning of realizable assets? Realizable assets are those assets by selling which we can realize or get some money. So here, for example, land and building, furniture, machinery, data, etc. So after you identify those realizable assets given in the question, which is there on the asset side, it has to be transferred to the realization account at their book values. Okay, book value means the value at which they are stated in the balance sheet. So now those are the assets which represent debit balance. When you are going to transfer that, you have to give credit to the various assets account. So now the entry is going to be realization account data to various realizable assets account. Then the second entry has to be passed for transferring provisions against assets given in the balance sheet to the realization account. Sometimes in the balance sheet we come across one adjustment, that is from the debtors, maybe reserve for bad debt or reserve for doubtful debt has been deducted from the gross debtors. For example, debtors gross value might be 50,000, out of which RBD of rupees 1,000 has been deducted and the remaining balance of 49,000 has been shown in the amount column. Okay, here the gross amount is 50,000 and 1,000 is the RBD and remaining net balance is 49,000. When you come across this kind of adjustment given in the asset side of the balance sheet, in the first entry while transferring the debtors along with the other assets, you have to transfer the debtors at gross value. Then in the second entry, you have to transfer the RBD, that is the provision created against the asset. So here when the asset is showing a debit balance, any provision or reserve created against the asset, it must show a credit balance. That credit balance you are going to transfer to the realization account. That is why you have to give debit to the provision account. So here the entry will be various provision against assets account data to realization account. Again, the transfer will be done at the book value. Then the third entry has to be passed for transferring various liabilities given in the balance sheet to the realization account at their book values. Here only those liabilities which are taken over by the purchasing company has to be transferred. For example, on the liability side, sometimes they will give you 4 liabilities, out of which only 3 liabilities are taken over by the purchasing company. One more liability it is not taken over. In such a case, only those liabilities which are taken over by the purchasing company has to be transferred to the realization account, again at the book value. So now when it is a liability, it will show a credit balance. So when you're going to transfer that to the realization account, you have to give debit to the liabilities account. So the entry will be various liabilities account data to realization account. Then the fourth entry has to be passed for transferring provision against liabilities like provision for discount on creditors, etc. to the realization account. So fourth entry is similar to the second entry. There we have transferred the provision against the asset, and here we are going to transfer the provision which is against the liability. Okay, here they have given the example, that is provision for discount on creditors. On the liability side, maybe you will find creditors amounting to 20,000, out of which provision for discount on creditor of rupees 500 has been deducted. Only 19,500 of creditors balance has been shown in the amount column as a net balance. So now in the third entry, when you are transferring the creditors along with the other liabilities, you have to transfer the gross value, that is 20,000, and then in the fourth entry you have to transfer this provision which is created for discount on creditors. If the liability is showing a credit balance, any provision created against the liability, it must show a debit balance. That debit balance you are going to transfer to the realization account. That is why the provision against the liability, it must be credited in the realization account. So the entry is going to be realization account data to provision against liabilities account. Then the fifth entry has to be passed for transferring debentures given in the balance sheet to the realization account. Here again, only if it is taken over by the purchasing company, it has to be transferred. Here one thing you can point out, debenture is also a liability. So along with other liabilities in the third entry, you can transfer debentures also to the realization account in the third entry itself. But if you want to pass a separate entry for transferring the debentures to the realization account where it is taken over by the purchasing company, you can pass the following entry, that is debentures account data to realization account. Here you are debiting the debenture account because debenture is a liability which shows a credit balance. When you are transferring, you have to give debit to the debentures account. The sixth entry has to be passed for recording the purchase consideration due from the purchasing company. Here, after we calculate what is the total purchase consideration due from the purchasing company by following any one of the methods discussed earlier, we have to pass the due entry, that is purchasing company's account data to realization account. Here we are debiting the purchasing company's account because till they settle the amount of purchase consideration, they will be the data for the selling company. Then the seventh entry has to be passed for the receipt of purchase consideration. As we discussed earlier, the purchase consideration can be discharged by the purchasing company by paying cash or by issuing the shares in the purchasing company or even by issuing the debentures in the purchasing company. So the entry will be cash or bank account data, shares in purchasing company's account data, debentures in purchasing company's account data to purchasing company's account. Earlier we had debited here, so when they settle the amount of purchase consideration, their account should be cancelled by debiting the account. Then eighth entry has to be passed for recording realization of assets not taken over by the purchasing company. So for example, on the asset side, we find there are 6 assets, realizable assets in the balance sheet. out of which only 5 assets have been taken over by the purchasing company. One more asset is not taken over. So now the selling company has to realize that asset. Okay. So for that, what is the entry we have to pass? Here the entry will be cash or bank account data to realization account. Usually when we realize the asset, we pass the entry cash or bank account data to concerned asset account. But here, instead of writing concerned asset account, we have to credit realization account, because in the first entry, all the realizable assets, including not taken over, it has been transferred to the realization account. So this asset is also there in the realization account. So when you're going to sell that, you have to give credit to the realization account and not to the concerned asset account. Then the ninth entry has to be passed for recording sale of debentures or shares received from the purchasing company towards purchase consideration. Usually, whatever the shares or debentures received from the purchasing company has to be allotted to the equity shareholders and preference shareholders of the selling company in settlement of their accounts. So, after the allotment of those shares and debentures, the equity shareholders and the preference shareholders of the selling company will become the shareholders and debenture holders of the purchasing company. But sometimes the shareholders of the selling company do not wish to continue in the purchasing company as a shareholder or debenture holder. Then, what is the other option available to them? They can sell those shares and debentures received under purchase consideration in the open market, that is stock market. In such a case, realization of shares and debenture can take place either at par or at a profit or even at a loss. Let us consider the cases one by one. The first case is realizing the shares or debentures at par. Okay, for example, from the purchasing company, they have got the shares worth rupees 10 lakh. Okay, now when they are going to realize that in the stock market, they are going to get the same 10 lakh rupees. That is called realizing at par. So there is neither profit nor loss. Okay, in such a case, what is the entry we have to pass? Bank account data to shares or debentures in purchasing company's account. Okay, we are discussing here the first step, that is preparing the realization account. If you see here, there is no adjustment with regard to the realization account because it is realized at par. So this entry will come in the third step, that is settlement of accounts. Okay, but I just discussed what is the entry if it is realized at a profit. Okay, then coming to the second case, that is where it is sold at a profit. For example, this 10 lakh worth of the shares, it is sold at 11 lakh rupees. Okay, here the book value of the share received under purchase consideration is only 10 lakh, but it is sold for 11 lakh in the open market, whereby 1 lakh profit the selling company is earning. Okay, that profit has to be transferred to the realization account. In that case, the entry will be bank account data for 11 lakh rupees, 2 shares in purchasing company's account 10 lakh rupees, to realization account 1 lakh. The profit on sale or realization of shares and debenture, it has to be transferred to the realization account. Then the third case, realizing at a loss. Okay, so here the 10 lakh worth of the share, it might be sold for 9 lakh 50,000. Okay, whereby 50,000 loss the selling company is getting. Okay, that 50,000 loss, here whether there is a profit or loss, it has to be transferred to the realization account itself. In the previous entry, how we transfer that profit to the realization account, here the loss should also be transferred to the realization account itself. So the entry will be bank account data for 9,50,000, that is the amount realized actually. Then realization account 50,000, 2 shares in purchasing company's account 10 lakh. Okay, so these are the different cases of realizing the shares or debentures, but usually we don't get this adjustment because whatever the shares or the debentures we get under purchase consideration, that will be allotted to the shareholders. If at all you get this adjustment, then depending upon the case how it is realized, you have to pass any one of the entries. Then the 10th entry has to be passed for the payment of realization expenses. Here we can see 2 cases, that is which is paid by the selling company and then sometimes it is paid by the purchasing company. Now if it is paid by the selling company, what is the entry we have to pass? The entry will be realization account data to cash or bank account. On the other hand, if it is paid by the purchasing company, here in the books of selling company, there will be no entries. Then later when we are passing the entries in the books of purchasing company, there we have to make the entry. Okay, then coming to the 11th entry, that is for transferring the profit or loss made on the payment of liabilities not taken over. Just now we discussed sometimes all the assets are not taken over by the purchasing company. Same way, all the liabilities need not be taken over by the purchasing company. In such a case, left out liabilities have to be paid by the selling company itself. For example, there may be three liabilities: debentures, bills payable and creditors, out of which debentures and bills payable are taken over by the purchasing company, creditors are not taken over. So now the selling company has to make the payment to the creditors. Again, while settling the amount to the creditors, there may be three cases. The first case is where the same amount will be paid to the creditors. Then in the first step, that is while preparing the realization account, we will not get any adjustment. Okay, for example, the amount due to the creditors is 50,000 and the selling company is paying same 50,000. In that case, what will be the entry? Creditors account data to cash or bank account. Okay, there is no adjustment with regard to the realization account. Okay, on the other hand, if it is settled at a profit or at a loss, there will be adjustment with regard to the realization account. For example, the first case given here, if it is settled at a profit, for example, they have to be paid 50,000 and they are paid only 49,500, okay, in full settlement, whereby 500 amount of profit the selling company will make. That profit has to be transferred to the realization account. In that case, the entry will be concerned liabilities account data to realization account. That profit has to be credited to the realization account. Then the other case might be where it is settled at a loss. For example, 50,000 amount has to be paid to the creditors and they have to be paid 50,000 in full settlement. In that case, that 1,000 extra paid will be loss for the selling company. That loss has to be debited to the realization account. In that case, the entry will be realization account data to concerned liabilities account. Whether there is profit on settlement or loss on settlement, it has to be debited or credited to the realization account itself. Then the 12th entry has to be passed for transferring profit or loss made on the payment of preference shareholders to the realization account. This entry is speaking about the profit or loss which is made on the settlement of preference shareholders to be transferred to the realization account. So usually the entry with regard to settlement of preference shareholders will come in the third step, that is under settlement of account, where the settlement taking place at par. For example, the preference share capital due from the selling company to the preference shareholder is 5 lakh rupees and the preference shareholders are allotted shares of the purchasing company exactly to the worth of 5 lakh. Then it is called settlement taking place at par. Then the entry will come in the third step, that is under settlement of account. On the other hand, sometimes there is possibility that the settlement will take place either at profit or at a loss. For example, the first case given here, there is profit in the settlement of preference shareholders. For example, they are to be paid 5 lakh, they are due 5 lakh from the selling company. So here they are allotted share worth rupees 4,75,000 in the purchasing company. Thereby 25,000 rupees the selling company can save. Okay, so that 25,000 will be profit for the selling company which has to be transferred to the realization account. So the entry will be preference shareholders account data to realization account. Okay, so here the profit has been transferred to the realization account which is made on the settlement of preference shareholders. Then coming to the other case where the settlement will be done at a loss. Here the capital to be paid by the selling company to the preference shareholders is 5 lakh and they are allotted shares worth rupees 6 lakh in the purchasing company. Then there is a 1 lakh amount of difference which is a loss for the selling company. They had to pay only 5 lakh but they are given 6 lakh worth of share. That 1 lakh loss which is made on the settlement of preference shareholders, it has to be debited to the realization account. In such a case, the entry will be realization account data to preference shareholders account. Then the 13th entry has to be passed for transferring realization profit or loss to the shareholders account, that is to the equity shareholders account. Okay, when we prepare the realization account, this is realization account. Okay, sometimes we may get the balancing figure here on the debit side, some other time we may get the balancing figure here on the credit side. If we get the balancing figure here on the debit side, which means that, or it represents, there is realization profit which has to be transferred to the equity shareholders account, then the entry will be realization account data to equity shareholders account. Okay, the same entry is written. If there is realization profit, then the entry will be realization account data to equity shareholders account. On the other hand, when we close the realization account, if we get the balancing figure here on the credit side, it represents realization loss. Then the entry will be by equity shareholders, means equity shareholders account data to realization account. So these are the two possible cases. Whether there is realization profit or realization loss, it has to be transferred to the equity shareholders account because they are the owners of the company. Then the second step is with regard to transferring various debit and credit items of shareholders given in the balance sheet to the shareholders account, that is both equity shareholders and preference shareholders. The first entry has to be passed for transferring preference share capital to the preference shareholders account. Preference share capital will be given under share capital, which represent credit balance. So now when you're going to transfer that, you have to give debit to the share capital account. So the entry will be preference share capital account data to preference shareholders account. Then the next entry under second step has to be passed for transferring various credit items belonging to equity shareholders. Credit items are like their capital, equity share capital, then reserve fund, profit and loss account, credit balance, that is accumulated profit over the years, or any other accumulated reserve. So these are the credit balances which belong to the equity shareholders. They will be given on the liability side, which represent credit balance. Now when you are going to transfer that, you have to give debit to all those accounts. Okay, the entry will be equity share capital account data, reserve fund account data, profit and loss account data, any other items account data to equity shareholders account. Then the third entry under the second step has to be passed for transferring various debit item belonging to the equity shareholders. Debit items are like fictitious asset. On the asset side, we find under miscellaneous expenditure which is not written off. Sometimes they will give you discount on issue of debentures, discount on issue of shares, profit and loss account, debit balance, which represent accumulated losses. Okay, so now those are the losses which the equity shareholders have to bear. So they represent the debit balance. So now when you're going to transfer that, you have to give credit to those accounts, okay, those items. So now the entry will be equity shareholders account data to profit and loss account to fictitious assets account. Okay, so these are the three entries we come across in the second step, that is while transferring the debit and credit item to the shareholders account. Then the third step is with regard to settlement of accounts. Under that, first entry has to be passed for the payment of liabilities which are not taken over by the purchasing company. Here the entry will be concerned liabilities account data to cash or bank account. Then the second entry has to be passed for payment to debenture holders. Here there will be two steps. First we have to transfer the debenture amount to the debenture holders account, that is the entry will be debentures account data to debenture holders account, and the second step for settling their account. So here the entry will be debenture holders account data to cash or bank account where the settlement is done in cash, or to debentures in purchasing company's account where they are issued debentures in the purchasing company while settling their account, or to shares in purchasing company's account. Here the settlement is done by issuing them shares in the purchasing company. Then the third entry is for payment to the preference shareholders. Actually first we have to transfer the share capital to their account, which is already completed in the second step. Here we are going to directly make the payment. So settlement can take place either at cash or by issuing the shares in the purchasing company. So the entry will be preference shareholders account data to cash or bank account, or 2 shares in purchasing company's account. Then the fourth entry will be for payment to the equity shareholders. Again, in the second step itself, all the credit and debit balances belonging to the equity shareholders have been transferred to their account. Now we are going to settle their account. So the entry will be equity shareholders account data, 2 cash or bank account, and 2 shares in purchasing company's account. So these were the journal entries to be passed under 3 different steps in the books of selling companies. Then we shall see the journal entries to be passed in the books of purchasing company, which is also called transferee company. Here the first entry has to be passed for the acquisition of business from the selling company. Okay, so which means that we are recording here the purchasing company has acquired the business from the vendor company or selling company, and the purchase consideration is due to the liquidator of selling company. So here the liquidation procedure of selling company is looked after by the liquidator. So whatever the purchase consideration is due from the purchasing company, it has to be paid to the liquidator. That is why we are passing the entry here, business purchase account data to liquidator of vendor company's account. So here we have to show the amount of purchase consideration. Then the second entry has to be passed for incorporating or recording the assets and liabilities taken over from the vendor company at their agreed values. So here we are going to incorporate or record all the realizable assets taken over and liabilities taken over at their agreed values in the books of purchasing company. So the entry here will be various assets account data except goodwill. Okay, at their agreed values we have to write it. Then straight away we have to write 2 various liabilities account at their agreed values, then 2 business purchase account. Again here we have to write the value of purchase consideration. After we write these 3 entries, that is various assets account data, 2 various liabilities account, 2 business purchase account, we have to compare the total debit with the total credit. If we get the balancing figure here in the debit side, we can understand that the purchase consideration paid is more when compared to the value of net asset taken over. So the balance amount which is paid extra will be towards the goodwill of the selling company, so it has to be considered as goodwill. On the other hand, if you get the balancing figure here on the credit side, it means that the purchase consideration paid is less when compared to the value of net asset taken over. So we can understand that thereby the purchasing company has made a capital profit in acquisition of selling company's business. That capital profit has to be considered as capital reserve. That is why that balance has to be transferred to capital reserve. Okay. Then the third entry has to be passed for recording payment of purchase consideration. As we discussed in the previous slides, the purchase consideration can be discharged in the form of cash or in the form of shares or even in the form of debentures. Okay. So here in the third entry we are recording where the purchase consideration is discharged in the form of cash and shares. Okay. The debenture entry will come in the fourth entry. Now when they are issuing the shares, again it can be issued at a premium or at a discount. Accordingly we have to adjust the entry. So the entry here will be liquidator of vendor company's account data. As I mentioned earlier, the purchase consideration will be paid to the liquidator. In the first entry we have credited because till the purchasing company settle the amount of purchase consideration, liquidator will be taken as the creditor for the purchasing company. So when they are going to settle that, his account should be debited. So the entry will be liquidator of vendor company's account data. Then when they have issued the shares at a discount, you have to debit discount on issue of shares account to equity share capital account where the equity shares are issued while discharging the purchase consideration, to preference shares account, then to securities premium account. If the shares are issued at a premium, the premium amount has to be transferred to securities premium account, then to cash or bank account where the settlement is done, the settlement of purchase consideration is done in the form of cash. Okay. Then as I mentioned earlier, the settlement of purchase consideration can take place even by issuing the debenture. In that case, the entry will come in the fourth entry, that is for recording the issue of debenture if any, to discharge the debentures of vendor company. Here what happens is that the purchasing company is taking over the debentures of the selling company. In that place, they are issuing the new debentures in the purchasing company. Again, how I said, the shares can be issued either at par or at a premium or even at a discount. Same way, debenture can also be issued at par or at a premium or even at a discount. So accordingly, we have to adjust the entry. So the entry here will be debentures in vendor company's account data. That is, whatever the selling company's debenture they had taken over, it has to be cancelled now. Then discount on issue of debentures account data. If they are giving any discount while issuing the debenture, that has to be debited. Then to debentures account, that is for issuing the new debentures in the purchasing company. Then to debenture premium account if the debentures are issued at a premium. Then the fifth entry in the books of purchasing company will be for recording the payment of realization expenses of the vendor company. As I mentioned there, if the selling company is making the payment of realization expenses, their entry will come in the books of selling company. On the other hand, if the selling company's realization expenses are paid by the purchasing company, then the entry has to be shown here. Okay, again it depends on the balancing figure you get in the second entry, that is here. As I said, sometimes you will get the goodwill as a balancing figure, or other time you may get capital reserve as a balancing figure. Depending upon the case here, the realization expenses payment entry has to be made. If you get the goodwill there in the second entry as a balancing figure, the entry for paying the realization expenses will be goodwill account data to bank account. On the other hand, if you get the credit balancing figure, that is capital reserve, in that case the entry will be capital reserve account data to bank account. Then the last entry, that is the sixth entry, has to be passed for recording set off of goodwill against the capital reserve to find out net goodwill or net capital reserve. So if we have in the balance sheet both goodwill and capital reserve, it has to be set off against each other by passing the following entry in order to calculate whether there is net profit, net goodwill or net capital reserve. So here the entry will be capital reserve account data to goodwill account. So these are the entries to be passed in the books of purchasing company for the acquisition of business or selling company. That's it for the present video. I will solve some questions on external reconstruction in the upcoming videos. Thank you for watching.